Today I chaosify Logan Grimnar. 2 weeks ago I dropped a video about how I kitbashed the new Wolfguard Terminators into Chaos ones. And of course I want to have my own mighty Chaos Lord and Terminator armor as well. And the very much dominating pose of him is just the perfect beginning for an arrogant leader of the Dark Gods. This time I try sculpting Pelt for the first time as a new challenge that I've never done before, as I want to try a new skill with every of these videos. And today we stick to the instructions as we go through all these steps first, and maybe this one as well. So first I clip off all the needed bits from the sprue, clean them up and build the first layer of this miniature. When its frame roughly stands, I start deloyalizing his legs and shoulder armor. First cutting it roughly into shape, and this time I used the back of my knife to scrape it like some of you amazing people told me. And after I cleaned up my working space, I sanded the deloyalized parts. Because why shouldn't I have done it the other way around? When everything was smooth, or let's say as smooth as I can get it with these tools, I glued the rest of Logan together and found the first bit I can add to his armor. It's a shoulder guard of a Dark Oath that got repurposed to be a hip or leg armor of his right side. I only drilled a small hole into it so it can fit like the original armor on this little knob here. And for the left side I thought it would be a cool thing adding a sword, even if this one is a little bit small for a Space Marine, I guess. This one again is from the Slaves to Darkness range. And now we come to one of the most defining features of this miniature, the huge wolf's pelt. I had the idea of covering the inside of his pelt cape here with another cape, because nothing says that you're important more than having multiple capes. This one again is from the Slaves to Darkness range, and it roughly matched the shape of the original pelt. I cut the upper part of it off so it can fit as far up between the Terminator's armor and the wolf's pelt. After some very precise eyeballing, I figured that I had to cut some of the folds of the cape as well. And when it was as flat as possible, I firstly glued on the original pelt and let it harden while I started working on his weapon. I gotta admit it felt very wrong cutting his amazing looking axe into two, but I wanted a blunt weapon like a hammer or a mace, because I just think it looks cool. So I cut the axe head off as I want to replace it with the upper part of a Varangard's hammer, which also got cut into two pieces. I wanted to try a longer hammer at first, but it looked very derpy right from the start, so I cut the rest off as well. At this point I really want to praise my amazing patrons who with their support keep this show running. I don't take this as granted and I am absolutely happy about it. So maybe you're also interested in being a supporter. If you do, feel free to check it out. Until yet you'll have some voting power and can even suggest full videos. Apart from that, every tier will get access to my Discord server. And currently I am thinking about some cool benefits like self-created Chaos STL fights to amp up your minis as well. I tried to match the motion of the paw and tail of the wolf's pelt and pressed the green stuff that won't be visible anyway into the recesses between the pelt and the armor using my amazing new tools here. To create a super strong bond between the hammer's head and the hilt of his weapon, I again used green stuff and a little bit of super glue. I did it this way because I messed up cutting these two parts cleanly. I didn't like the original wolf's head here, which led to a problem. What else do I do with this hugest of gaps here, right on top of the miniature? I once again put some green stuff boards to fill in the gaps at first. I also found some Ogroid horns that were just perfect to indicate something like an occult looking construct on his armor. And to match the horns and somehow make use of the original design here, I found a skull that is from an Iron Jaws kit, I guess. The only thing is that it just stuck out a little bit too much at this point. So I had to cut a bit of its jaw away to make it fit. At this point I started having a clearer vision of how he will look in the end, as of course I didn't plan anything. And I realized that I had to sculpt a pelt at some point during this build, which is something I've never done before. So I covered the bottom or lower part of the horns with green stuff. I tried the sculpting tools again, but that achieved basically nothing. I'm pretty sure that's the combination of this millennia-old green stuff and that the tools are just too soft for rough sculpting like this. So I brute forced it with the Chaos Kevin method of doing it with the Nurgle knife. Since it's already rusty, I could dip it into the water without any regrets anyway. First I tried matching the spots where it goes over into each other, using the backside of my knife and just press it into the green stuff and pulled it ever so slightly into the same direction to create this pelt-like texture. If there are better ways to achieve this, please let me know, as this won't be the last time I will need this, I guess. And now he gets his big bonking stick and the other side of his wolf's foreleg, arm, paw. I just cutted the head away and cleaned up the remaining connections to his necklace. And it seems someone put some skill points into luck whilst my character creation, so it would fit perfectly over the sword. He looked very cool at this point, but let's Warhammerize him now. The amount of chaos corruption on this miniature isn't high enough for my liking. I found this trophy rack of the new demon prince that I didn't need and I built a chaos star onto it. Dry-fitted it at first and cut it away its meant to be connection to the prince. Again using some green stuff here to cover up the small gap that would have appeared otherwise, as I wanted this construction to end right between the horns so it ties everything together. And after that I once again practiced some sculpting on his pelt. I need a bit of danger in my life anyway. And by the way, if you like this type of content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thanks a lot. And now I come to the, I guess, most unnecessary part of this build. But something I wanted to try anyway. I drilled a bit of the armor away to make room for a magnet. Yes, I wanted switchable heads. But I figured even if I don't need that, that is a skill I will need in the future and I can practice it here as well. As I have to drill some holes into the head anyway, please don't take this out of context, I could use that tool to drill some holes into the armor as well. Again, to match the rest of my Terminators. After all, I go for a corruption that tries to match all the gods and combines them in a more natural way. And once that's done, I glued the magnets into the heads. I found a book of a Dark Angel upgrade kit, but the problem was that I didn't know that I want him to have a book in the first place. So to make it look really cool, I had to turn the hand now, which was, to be honest, too much work at this point and I didn't want to ruin the build I did so far. So I thought he just could hold this unholiest of artifacts like rich people hold their tablets. And now onto the painting part. I started with his base first, which is very unusual, right? But I wanted him to be really immersed into the scene here. And to get a better feel for it, I figured having the base in the colors I want them to be is a good way of measurement. After that he got my warband scheme of white, using cold grey as a base coat and quickly after that wolf grey wet blended on top of it. I focused a little bit more on the round shapes and make them brighter at the highest point of the curve, so to say. Here and there I added some dark rust into the mix to make the armor appear smudgy right from the start. For his cape I gave him a very eerie color of red and purple. Again, to match the feel of the entire theme here, using evil and gory red in tandem. The book got the coat of gory red and very importantly the inside of the Terminator's armor as well. I wanted to try this amazing pinkish glow for the first time that some of these amazing painters do. So I wet blended some white into gory red to make it appear pink. For the golden parts I used Pro Acrylic bronze as I just really like this color for the trims and such. To make it look old and covered with verdigris I used jade and watered it down to a shade or glaze-like consistency and slapped it onto all the metals. For the wolf's pelt and all the bone parts I used a 50-50 mix of dark rust and burnt red. I also mixed a little bit of black into it to have some darker spots where these folds are created. And after that I shaded the pelt and the metallics with Game Wash black. For the holes and to indicate a bit of dirt in the recesses of the armor, I used Sepia by Vallejo as well. This will just function as an undercoat as the weathering isn't complete now by any means. The horns and the bones got a stippling of dark rust and elfic flesh, as well as this little, I guess, impurity seal in this case, on his shoulder. It's from a Sisters of Battle kit by the way. To highlight the wolf's pelt I used a pure burnt red and tried only to catch the more raised parts of the fur. To finish the armor I once again painted a bit of wolf grey onto it to make the dirt appear not that pronounced. The metals got a finishing touch with Pro Acrylic's light bronze. This really makes them pop in the end and create this dark and evil looking feel. And for the head I used my trusted recipe of dark purple, Bugman's glow and elfic flesh wet blended on top of each other. I tried to make all the markings on his head to be very pronounced, so I went for a very high contrast look here. I used I guess you can say it's some kind of a dry brushing motion from his chin up to his forehead. I painted the back and the right side of his face with gory red and white afterwards. It is the same mix that I used for the inside of the Terminator's armor, but this time leaning more towards the gory red. And to finish the helmet and the face, I used Parasite Brown and Sun Yellow for the eyes. At this point I really want to say thanks a lot for all the amazing engagement on the first video, and I hope you like this one here as well. There's still more to come from both 40k and AOS, but today I sign off wishing you the bestest of days and we are going to see each other in the next one.